Welcome back to Talking with Our Traders, a Caesar Sportsbook original series, the podcast that takes you inside the mind of the sportsbook with our very own Caesar Sportsbook traders. I'm your host, Cindi Edwards, and with me today and all season long, Craig Mucklow, Vice President of Trading here at Caesar Sportsbook.
Hello there.
And Joey Fiesel, Head of Football here at Caesars.
Hello.
Hey guys, how's it going?
It's going. Yeah.
Going? Good week thus far?
It's not too bad.
Interesting.
Yeah. Always is.
Yeah.
All right, well, let's start with some college football. Joey, Texas survives Vandy. Did the Longhorns just save their season?
I think they saved their season and kind of got back into the conversation for being in the college football playoff. When we get to the committee time, there's going to be a thumb down, I think, especially on the SEC side of the ball. And Texas kind of put themselves in there. I think Arch Manning had a real rough start, but he's kind of built up since then. And so, yeah, they're in the conversation, but they still have an uphill battle. I mean, we're going to get the odds sitting at plus 180, so it's not a lock, as we would usually say, but they certainly got a chance now, and they put themselves in position.
Yeah, they saved their season for 2 more weeks. 3 lost teams are not making it in. They had a quality loss to Ohio State, which is understandable. Lost to unranked Florida. But they've got to beat 2 of the top 5 teams that are currently ranked. Mm-hmm. Can they beat Georgia and Texas A&M? No.
Probably not.
Probably not.
Probably not. No.
All right. Well, Arch Manning does have better stats than a couple of quarterbacks in his first 11 starts. Do we maybe owe him an apology?
Well, the quarterbacks that were listed, I don't know if Colt McCoy, Sam Ehlinger, Quinn Ewers. I mean,
just reeks of number 1 draft picks.
Yeah, great Texas quarterback. So if we're comparing him to mediocre Texas quarterbacks, sure, I guess we owe him an apology. But that's what we're kind of comparing him to is Colt McCoy, Sam Ehlinger, Quinn Ewers. So, no, I think he's improving. I don't think he's going to the NFL draft this year. I think he's just going to kind of build upon that. And look, quarterback is a tough job, and even if you have the bloodline, doesn't mean that you're ready on that next stage. And I'm sure he took that to heart, and he's probably just going to get better. But the jury's out whether how we're treating him going into this season.
Yeah, I agree.
No apology necessary. All right, moving on.
It's tough to get one out of us.
Yeah, that's true. SMU stuns Miami. Is Miami the biggest disappointment in the ACC?
There's a lot of disappointments in the ACC, but I don't know if they are. I still think they do have a kind of solid defense, but I think this is probably over for Miami. I mean, in order to be, there's going to be one ACC spot at the end of the day, and them already having 2 losses. SMU's a good team, right? They were a playoff team last year. But they're not elite. They're not at these elite levels where Miami should be taking care of SMU in this scenario. So, yeah, they're a disappointment, but there's a lot of disappointment to go around in the ACC, and that's why they're only going to have 1 spot in the college football playoff.
Not officially cooked. I think they were 4-1 at the start of the year to make the playoffs anyway. They're back up there again now, but both losses are firmly on the quarterback's shoulders. Carson Beck had a terrible game. Was it Virginia on the Friday night?
Yeah.
Like 4 turnovers. And those picks really hurt. And then he throws the pick at the goal line in overtime. So, bad decision making. They've got 1 ranked team left on the schedule. They've beat all the other ranked teams that they've played. So, tough. But yes, the ACC is very disappointing. And great quarterbacks win those games normally. And he's cooked his Heisman chances, that's for sure.
All right. Ohio State put up another double-digit win this past weekend. Quarterback Julian Sayin now sits as the lone Heisman favorite. Will the Buckeyes repeat as champions, currently plus 215 to win it all?
Ohio State's not just winning, they're steamrolling the competition. Yeah. Granted, we're not seeing kind of the levels of, that Penn State game was supposed to be good. We know how Penn State ended up. So they haven't really, outside of that Texas game, really been challenged that much. We're going to see how it goes. I mean, it looks like it's going to be them in Indiana in the Big Ten championship. We know how Cignetti's going to want to win that bad, and that's going to be probably the one game that they might be challenged. But if they continue to steamroll it just behind this fantastic defense, I think I don't know who can take them on right now. I'm sure there's some SEC teams, if it's any given Saturday, might be able to take them on. But they're going to be favored against anybody. They're clearly the top ranked team, and the 215 is for a reason.
They have the defense. They've only given up 6 touchdowns all year, but they've only beat 2 ranked teams. So they really haven't been tested. Indiana will be the test, obviously, but I still think they'll come out on top of that. 230 is too short for me, especially on any futures ticket. And sense complacency at some stage where you've steamrolled everybody, you get to the playoffs. Now all of a sudden, this game really, really matters. And you haven't faced any adversity in the year. And the Texas game wasn't close. They were 14-0 up, and that was a comfortable game. Like, the scoreline reflects completely different.
Right.
So I'd like to see them lose a game before the playoffs for their benefit, not for mine.
Right.
There's always that Michigan game.
And Michigan. Yeah, they always struggle with Michigan last game of the year. Yeah.
All right. Oklahoma upsets Tennessee. Is John Mateer officially back? He had a pretty clutch performance.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say he's back. I still think, it was a clutch performance, but Tennessee's not known for their defense. So let's not give him the biggest, oh my gosh, I can't believe he didn't beat Ohio State's defense out there. If he goes and somehow they play Ohio State, then yeah, he'd be back. But no, an impressive game, really kind of keeping Oklahoma relevant. Again, we talk about the 3-loss team, but they still have a tough schedule to go. So if Mateer needs to be back in order for them to move forward and see if they can break into that CFP and compete for a national championship.
Yeah, they've got to beat Alabama and Missouri, and that's why it's 50-1. Feels like huge value given how well he played, but Joey's right. Tennessee don't have the defense. 3-loss teams are not getting, so they've actually got to run the table. And they're going to need some help as well. You just feel that if he wasn't injured, he's probably favourite for the Heisman. I think Sayin only gets there because of the defense, not because of his offensive production.
Yeah. All right, moving on. Matt Rule has a record of 0-8 against top 25 teams as a head coach at Nebraska. His overall college coaching record against ranked opponents is 2-24, so pretty awful. Did Nebraska make a mistake extending him? Did Penn State dodge a bullet?
I don't think he was ever going to go to Penn State, and Penn State has yet to dodge a bullet because they have to completely up their program. So there's still a bullet coming their way.
No such thing. Yeah.
But yeah, Nebraska doubling down on Matt Rule feels like buying stock in a company that never turns a profit. And I think, look, he makes almost James Franklin look like Nick Saban with that record. But I understand why they like Matt Rule. Nebraska goes in every year. It's Nebraska's year. If you see any Nebraska fan, every year we get the over on the season wins. It's always like this is the year they're going to break through. And Matt Rule kind of builds that culture, but at some point it feels like just a cursed franchise, like the New York Jets.
I was going to say giving Jets.
Yeah,
giving Jets.
I just think it's ludicrous. The colleges pay these salaries.
Yeah.
Since the first time the college football playoff was introduced, schools have paid over $1 billion to people not to work for them in these buyouts. It's just nuts, especially in the economic environment we're in. No one is worth that level of money. And I did interestingly read last night that a congressman has filed a bill to limit the salaries of football coaches and college programs to 10 times the tuition number, which, I mean, if you're paying tuition for your kids to go to get an education and all you're doing is funding a buyout, then I feel bad. Rant over.
Rant over.
All right. Well, before we get into game previews, who, in your opinion, was left out of the college football playoff rankings?
To be honest, the college football playoff rankings just serves as media fodder. All it is, it's just to create relevance and talk about it for the next few weeks because it means absolutely nothing for at least 3 more weeks. Looking at the odds, though, Texas and Oklahoma are way shorter in odds than BYU, and BYU are 4 times the price of Texas to win the title. So I would say Texas and Oklahoma are on the outside looking in and left out, but it's nonsense. It means nothing.
Yeah. All right, let's get into game previews. Number 3, Texas A&M travels to face number 19, Missouri. Missouri just trying to stay in the fight, and the Aggies are trying to protect their status as just one of 4 remaining undefeated teams.
Yeah, Texas A&M is going to roll into Columbia as a 7-point favorite. It feels like this is Texas A&M's game to lose. I don't think they will because they've just been absolutely dominating teams. And maybe it doesn't necessarily reflect on the score, but I think, Mike Elko, the coach, is a defensive-minded coach. So they're not going to have the flashies like Tennessee at times. But Marcel Reed is balling out. I don't know if Missouri's been in some games this year where they've been competitive, but I don't think they have it here. I think A&M will take this no problem.
I'm going the other way.
Ooh.
The money's come for Texas already this week, minus the points. Missouri's got a solid defense. It's 5th in yards per game. They only allow 17 points per game as well. Theoretically, with the spread and the total, it suggests a 27-20 win for A&M. But A&M give up a ton of points on defense. So give me the better defense, home field, and a touchdown start.
Wow.
Oh, big statement from
Big
Craig.
statement, yeah. All right. Well, moving on. Matchup of the week. Number 8, BYU keeps rolling as one of the few remaining undefeated teams as well in the nation. The Cougars also got a bye week and a chance to get healthy. Line is currently Texas Tech -10, total 52.5. Joey, what should we expect here?
This is the one where I kind of like the dog in this one. I do like BYU because I feel like week in and week out, they're disrespected. And they're undefeated. It was going into the season, everybody, all the sharp guys are under BYU win total, under this. And they've done nothing but win ball games. And I think they have a great coach. Texas Tech has some running back issues that's going to probably kind of slow them down and force them to pass a little more. They are a very talented team. This is the kind of the opposite where everybody's on Texas Tech every week, right? Because they hit the portal really big in the offseason. They have high expectations. To bettors, they've already won the Big 12. So it's going to be a very good game. I do think I lean BYU here, and I think they can get the upset because I think they are not as talented, but they have a better coach and a better structure, and they're really buying into that underdog, even though they're number 8.
Yeah, one, yeah.
Yeah.
Looks like I'm going 0-2. I think this is where BYU in their schedule catch them up. I'm never a fan of taking double-digit favorites, but I'm firmly in the Texas Tech camp this week. They just blow everyone out bar the one game that they lost. Texas 5th in defensive scoring, 10th in defenses overall. And there's an odd thing with college basketball. Every time they name the number 1 team in the country in the rankings every Monday, whenever it is, they go and lose the very next game. BYU are going to be reading all this press, like, oh, we're in the college football playoff. Oh, we're in there. Get chinned.
All right. Moving on, Indiana versus Penn State. Number 2, Indiana versus Penn State. Can the Hoosiers keep rolling, or is this a trap spot against a desperate Penn State team?
Desperate.
Yeah, they are desperate. But I don't think they get it done. Indiana's one of those teams. I mean, if we'd looked at this line preseason, this would have been probably a 20, 25-point move. Penn State would have probably been at least 10-point favorite.
Wow.
So you can see how much this has reacted. It's gone 25 points the other way. Penn State was competitive at times last weekend, but they just don't have it together. And firing Franklin didn't really give them the bump you'd expect for a team. So and we know that Cignetti's going to try to win big. He's still going to try to get Fernando Mendoza in the Heisman conversation, who's not too far behind Sayin. So, yeah, I don't see Penn State being competitive in this one at all.
Penn State are 25-2 straight up against Indiana. Indiana are good. Are they going to try to up the score? Yes. But Penn State still have that talent. The coach has changed, not the talent on the field. Only one team's got within double digits of Indiana. Penn played tough last week against Ohio State. I said they probably need to score 16 points to cover, and 16 would have got them there. Instead, they just scored 14. I just think Indiana will score and blow them out.
Yeah.
All right. Both agree. Not really much hope there.
No.
All right, last but not least, number 4, Alabama versus LSU. This is going to be the first game post the Brian Kelly firing. Is LSU a live dog or a liability?
this is the one that you might get a coaching bump from. And the reason is they do have the talent on both sides of the ball. They're a little bit injured. I'm just not going to downplay that. But really, Brian Kelly was hurt in that culture there. And it was very clear in his last game coached of him just going after everybody in the sideline. And you could see it in the coach's eye. You see it in the players' eyes. They're like, I don't want to be here. This guy's a jerk. So this is where they might get a bump and play for LSU. They're already pretty much out of any sort of conversation for a big postseason game. So I think they're going to be competitive in this one. And Alabama has not been blowing people out. They've been kind of keeping the door ajar on almost every game where, yes, they're winning the game. They're being clutch in clutch times, but there's a chance where the other team can take over, and the other team hasn't yet. So I think LSU is going to be competitive in this one. But, Alabama's Alabama. And to think that they're going to just let their guard down because it's a 5-3 LSU team, no way, Jose. They're going to be coming in prepared.
Yeah, there's too much history in this matchup. I wouldn't say Alabama's clutch. I would say South Carolina were nowhere near clutch because South Carolina absolutely should have beat Alabama.
Yeah, big time.
You know my opinion on Alabama, especially as a road favorite. They are not even on my radar when they're a road favorite. Interesting. Obviously got too much time on my hands. Of all the coaching firings during the season this year, the very next game on a main board game that they've played, the teams are 8-1 against the spread. Give me the points.
Yep.
I'm not man enough to take this straight up. But
Okay.
give me the points.
But you'll take the points.
Oh, yeah.
All right. Let's get into our college football picks of the week. What is your favorite college football game to go over?
I like BYU Texas Tech over 52.5.
Indiana Penn State over 48.5, only because I think Indiana score 49 themselves.
Right. Favorite college football game to go under?
Go ahead, Craig.
BYU Texas 52.
Well, do with that information what you will.
I got Stanford,
Yes,
North
good pick.
Carolina under 41.5.
All right. Favorite college football team to cover the spread?
Like A&M -7.
I'm going Wisconsin plus 11.5 versus Washington.
All right. Favorite college football upset of the week?
I've got Temple 7-point dog to Army.
What, you taking a point?
No,
Okay.
I'll get the money line for you. Go ahead, Craig. What's your?
Yeah, Greg, this is your bread and butter.
It is my bread and butter. It's the only thing I'm actually any good at. Delaware over Louisiana Tech plus 180. Nothing sexy, but that's the one.
All right. Any weather we should be aware of before bettors place their bets?
BYU Texas Tech will be 20-mile-an-hour winds for about the whole game. Joey didn't check the news.
No, I did not check the weather.
All right. Well, there you go. Let's move on to NFL. Guys, NFL trade deadline. Obviously, some moves made there. Any movement?
The trade deadline really, unless there's a really big trade, is going to move the line with a big skill player or something like that. But the trades that we got this time around doesn't necessarily affect the odds that much. But what it does tell us is who's going for it and who's selling the team. So the Jets, obviously.
Or who should sell the team.
Who should sell the team.
The Jets should sell the team. Yeah.
The Jets made it very clear that we're trying to get picks. We're going to go into full rebuild mode.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if you had a Jets playoff ticket, go ahead and rip that. You could have ripped it up probably like 4 weeks ago.
Yeah.
But,
Very
20
true.
years ago.
the Colts recognize, okay, where did we get exposed on Sunday? Our secondary. They hadn't been exposed that much until then because they're
Haven't played
playing the
anybody.
Titans, right? Like Cam Ward's going to make enough mistakes, but they clearly needed some help in the secondary. You see other teams making moves on defense. I think the Shaheed one to Seattle is interesting with how good Darnold's playing.
Yeah.
So it just tells you who's going for it and who's like, we saw it last year with the Commanders, right? The Commanders made a big deal late in the season. Just say, hey, we're going for it. Made it to the NFC Championship game. So it does give you kind of a way to shade futures going forward, but the actual movement of the actual players don't actually make that big of an odds shift.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I was more interested in who was selling
Yeah.
because they're pitching for next year. But then you find out some of the asking prices when you read about it was like, you're asking prices too much and you're also knee deep on the salary cap. Like, lower your asking price and get rid of the cap for next year if you're going to rebuild. Like, if you're going to rebuild, you need cap space as well.
Right.
Yeah. All right, guys. Can you explain why the Chiefs are not favored to win the AFC West, but are favored to win the Super Bowl?
Well, they're down in standings, right, for the AFC
True
West. Right. But if we're saying Kansas City on the road versus whoever in the playoffs, do you think Kansas City's not going to be favored?
Yep.
There's no way. So the division odds reflect who's going to be at the top of the standings. Your Super Bowl is going to be, okay, when we get in the playoffs, who's going to be the most competitive? What's their best path? What's their probability of winning it all? And the Chiefs are going to be much better than that. Mahomes is 17-4 in the playoffs. I mean, it looks weird because it's like, oh, they're not going to win the division. That means they're not going to get a bye week. Well, it doesn't matter. They're at the top of the power rankings. They're going to be favored against almost anybody, except for the top couple teams when they're on the road. But yeah, it's going to reflect of the power of this Chiefs team, and all they stumbled last week, and probably probably a little bit of Kool-Aid as well because they played two bad teams the week before.
Mm-hmm.
They're still, if not the best, one of the second or third best teams in the league right now.
So reflective of the team, not the record. Craig?
Who would the Patriots rather play in the playoffs, the Chiefs or the Broncos?
Obviously the Broncos, Craig.
Well, you've just answered
You just answered your question.
But for the division, it's directly correlated to the season wins as well. So both are set at 11.5 right now on the Caesar Sportsbook. Denver are minus 125 to get to 12 wins, but Kansas are plus 130 to get to 12 wins. But you're talking plus 115, plus 150 for the division, 6% difference. But also Denver has a 2-game head start in the division as well. That's why. But the Ravens and the Bills would rather see the Broncos in the playoffs than the Chiefs.
Absolutely.
All right. Let's get into some overreactions or not. Are you guys ready?
Yeah.
Ready.
Overreaction or not, the Arizona Cardinals are a much better team with Jacoby Brissett starting as quarterback rather than Kyler Murray.
I think it's a bit of an overreaction. I think Jacoby kind of brings that senior kind of leadership, and he's more even keeled, whereas Kyler's short, a little bit flashy. He makes mistakes, but he's also banged up. So I'm not selling that Kyler Murray is a bad quarterback yet, and that Jacoby Brissett is all of a sudden a fantastic quarterback. But maybe he's just hitting his stride. We see Flacco playing the lights out at 41 years old. So
Yeah.
maybe it's just Geno Smith came on late in his career. Sam Darnold came on late in his career. So maybe this is Jacoby Brissett's season, but I'm not sold just yet.
Brissett's done this before.
Yes, he has
Yeah.
for a couple of teams. Not an overreaction. I'm assuming Call of Duty 100 or whatever version we're on came out the last few weeks.
It did.
Yeah, there you go.
Kyler's happy as can be.
Brissett's not the future. He has a better arm than Murray, that's for sure. He doesn't have the legs because of his age. You sense the Cardinals are probably moving on from Murray next year. With Brissett, you get a quarterback who's at the end of his career. He's got nothing to lose. So just air it out. You're not going to be able to. You're not outrunning a defense unless it's the Jets' defense, obviously. He gets the ball out quicker, and he utilizes their biggest playmaker, which is Harrison Jr., which Murray doesn't have that accuracy. Will they make the playoffs? No. Will they start talking about Kyler Murray again in about 3-4 weeks when Brissett regresses to the norm? Maybe, because when you start a new quarterback, you catch people off guard.
Yeah. Do you think Arizona made the right move naming Brissett the starter moving forward?
Probably. And they just put Kyler on IR, so that also, he is probably dealing with an injury there. But you want your team not only, to get the press off your back every week, is Kyler player, blah 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 blah, but also for the team to buy in behind Brissett, because things aren't looking great in Arizona. They might be the best 3-5 team though. They're in almost every game. They just can't win ball games.
Yeah.
But it seems to be a reoccurring thing with Arizona every year that they should win more than their record suggests, but they just can't get there. So I think it's a good move for the coach, for Gannon, to establish Brissett's our guy going forward, so there's not just the media questions back and forth, and you can get the locker room together and kind of stay together for the remainder of the season.
Indecision's your worst enemy. I mean, if you can't make your mind up and then you're umming and ahhing and to and fro, by naming it, The team know who the quarterback is. The quarterback knows who he is. There's no controversy. Job done. Will he change his mind in 3-4 weeks? He's got every right to. But yeah, I mean, you just put it out there and get it done. Then you haven't got to answer the questions.
Yeah. All right. Overreaction or not, Lamar Jackson is an MVP candidate despite missing a month of football. Currently 25-1 for MVP.
It's not an overreaction. I'm sure Craig has a lot to say about this.
He looked
but
phenomenal.
he looked
Who? Thank
phenomenal.
you. Oh, Lamar.
Yeah. Lamar did look phenomenal. It was clear he wasn't running, so there's probably the hamstring stuff he's still dealing with. But
He didn't have to.
He didn't have to against the defense.
Yeah.
He threw, 4 touchdowns? He is at 25-1 odds, and that really reflects the missed time and how much is that going to affect him as we get later into the season. So I think the odds are kind of having that built in. That is he elite? Absolutely. We know he's top 2 quarterbacks in the league, probably him and Mahomes.
Yeah.
But when we get to the spin zone time, when we get to the end of December, this is what's going to be talked about. Like, oh, Lamar's played lights out, but he missed however many weeks he missed. So it'll be interesting. I look forward to it, but I'm sure Craig is going to tell you why that's nonsense and why he should be.
I have a ticket with 50-1.
Yeah, that's exactly
No
right.
surprise. And you both scoffed at me last week when I suggested this because their
That's
schedule.
true. It's
You did
true.
scoff, didn't
I
you?
did.
Yeah.
I said he missed too much time. I was being a hater.
Their schedule is easy.
Yeah.
They're going to have plenty of opportunities to pad the stats. They've got 2 games left that are tough outside the division, the Vikings and the Packers. They're a 4-point favorite against the Vikings this week. We all know I'm all in on the Ravens. They have to win the division for him to have any chance. They're 2 back, but they've got 5 of their 6 divisional games left to go. Very, very dangerous and value at 25s.
All right. Okay, so an interesting one. The Panthers are just the second NFL team since 1970 to have a winning record through 9 games despite opening as an underdog in every game. Are the Panthers somewhat underrated?
I think they're underrated. I think I said that with one of my season wins open. I think that they kind of have the pieces. Rico Dowdle's playing lights out.
Yeah.
It's so fun to see, especially a running back to see that later in their career. Kind of who really had a tough couple years or were kind of a nobody, and then he's absolutely showing up. I love it. Yeah, they were favored briefly against the Jets, but they closed
Right.
a dog for whatever reason. People bet on the Jets. I don't know why, but no, I think they're definitely underrated. It was exciting to see them against the Packers this week as being that big of a dog and actually competing. And if in a time where it feels like favorites win every week, it's nice to see that. So I think they are still underrated. They're getting a little bit of love this week, laying a lot of points. We'll see if they can actually continue the streak. But yeah, they're not out of reach, and they're still a competitive team. So I think the future is bright for Carolina.
We are the Panthers, the Browns, and the Jets '1 fans every single week.
Oh,
unless they
weird. The
play each other.
sportsbook likes the
Shocking.
underdogs.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Um,
Never heard of that before.
Are they underrated? No. They beat one team with a winning record. And it tells enough about you when the Jets are a favorite against you. No, I've got to see more from them. It's nice to see it, and it's nice to see Joey actually get a preseason pick right for once. But yeah, I got to see more.
All right.
I mean, this season was doomed the minute Joey says over wins, coach of the year, Super Bowl.
Yeah. All right. Well, this was a massive week for the NFC North with all 4 teams now sitting with a very similar record heading into week 10. Is there value for bettors to back the Bears or Vikings for the division title?
No, because I think they lack consistency. And you're going against probably one of the 2 best teams in the NFC, the Packers and the Lions. So, yeah, I think the real difference there is the leadership at quarterback. We still see Caleb week in and week out make mistakes. JJ McCarthy, he looked fine last week, but how's he going to look in the future?
Right.
So I think, yeah, I don't see value with the Bears or Vikings because I think it's going to be the Packers or Lions that are going to get this done at the end of the day. They just have too much talent on both sides of the ball. So, yeah.
I thought the Bears were valued preseason. I thought they'd give the Packers a run. For me, Joey's right. They're not Neither of them are massive value, but if you had to take a side, I'd go the Vikings. They just look that much better with JJ behind center. They're also 2-0 in the division, which comes down to a tiebreaker. You've got that. You're a third of the way there. The problem for the Vikings, and this reflects their division prices, their schedule is brutal. You've got the Ravens, the Bears, the Packers, and the Seahawks in the next 4 games. And then they close with the Packers and the Lions. Feels a little bit too much to overcome for me. So, yeah, the answer is no. But if you are a degenerate like me, you take the Vikings.
All right. Can you guys rank the quarterbacks in the NFC North right now?
Jared Goff, Jordan Love, Caleb, JJ.
All right. Craig.
I had it the other way around. Goff, Love, McCarthy, Williams.
Okay, you like JJ
All right.
a little bit more?
All right.
He just hasn't shown me enough yet.
Yeah.
And I've seen enough of Caleb.
You've seen enough. Caleb does make mistakes week in them, and it just makes you like,
Come on,
why?
they should
Why?
never have beat the Bengals.
Yeah, that was a disgusting game.
Yeah.
All right, we'll get into this more in the game previews, but what the heck is going on in Green Bay? You guys
we told
actually
you what
have,
it is.
you've actually been pretty spot on with this all season. But now that other people have caught on, are the Packers good? Like, is that the question?
They're very good.
They're good because they're backed by a very good defense. But like I said a couple weeks ago, you see Josh Jacobs go down, they're toast. They just don't. Now you lose Tucker Kraft. It's the problem is on the offense. And yeah, Jordan Love has some good numbers, but they're just never explosive down the field. They're never scoring a bunch of points. They're never putting teams to bed. Now this weekend, I think it seems like they play up to their competitions. This weekend, they're probably going to beat the Eagles, which makes no sense. But yeah, I think that they just don't have that offensive efficiency that we see with the Lions, we see with the Bucks, we see with the Chiefs at times, where it's like, wow, this team's good. I don't think the Packers have that.
Who do you blame that on? Do you blame that on Jordan Love, or do you blame that on the coaching?
It's
Or
100% the coach.
Yeah,
Coach.
LaFleur a little bit. And I think he's just a little too conservative with the playbook. He doesn't open it up quite a bit. There's times in that Panther game you saw him open up and had success, but then he just isn't consistent. He's like trying to hold on to something.
that's not working.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Do the Bengals have the worst defense in NFL history?
They're up there.
I didn't know they had a defense.
Yeah. They've allowed 253 points through 8 games. Dead last in the league and on pace for 567 points allowed, which would break the post-merger record set by the Colts in 1981, back when Craig had hair.
Yeah, a lot of it as well.
So you see it week in and week out. The defense is just bad. They made their investments on the offense and just kind of threw the defense out the window.
Seems like another team exactly the same.
Yeah, they have the opposite problem of the Packers.
Yeah.
But yeah, they are horrific. And you see it now even bleeding to the offense side of the ball and just them voicing their frustrations to show how bad they are.
Yeah. That's no bueno. Something's got to go.
I mean, that has to be absolutely soul-destroying in the locker room when half your room is putting up your
Blaming
points without
you.
your quarterback,
Yeah.
right? And you're scoring enough to compete against teams. And 40-odd points should win every single game that you ever play in. And then the other side of the ball just invites people in like it's a party. It's like, come on.
It'd
come
be
on into our
frustrating
end
for
zone.
sure. I get it.
You can see that there's probably some internal bust-ups going on in there as well. I mean, I know how my locker room would be if I was the one putting up all the points and the rest of the team were not delivering.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they're pretty bad.
Yeah. All right. Bo Nix puts together another late game drive to help the Broncos improve to the AFC West best 7-2. Are the Broncos a legit contender or just really clutch?
I'm not sold on the Broncos just yet. Week in and week out, no, they're going to play the Raiders tonight.
Yeah, lucky for them.
Yeah, that seems to be good for anybody in the NFL when you play the Raiders. But no, I think it's going to catch up to them one of these times where they just can't get that fourth quarter done. Like you need to play the first 3 quarters well and to be efficient on offense in order to be competitive in the playoffs and face a team like the Chiefs. Like we talked earlier, there's a bunch of other AFC teams that much rather play the Broncos than the Chiefs in the playoffs, and it shows in their first 3 quarters. They are opportunistic, I guess you could say. There's a little bit of luck involved with there. But that Colts game, earlier in the year, So I'm not sold on this yet. I think they do have the talent, but they haven't shown it on the field yet.
All right, Joey's not buying. What about you, Craig?
None of the above. Blind luck. As we saw with the Chiefs' 12-0 run last year when they won by one score, that luck runs out when you need it the most. And it ran out pretty quick in the Super Bowl.
In the Super Bowl, yeah.
You beat Houston because Stroud had got injured, and they were 15-0 down at the time. You should never have beaten the Jets in London. That was my dog of the week, and the Jets were the better team. The Giants was a complete choke job for the ages.
Yeah.
The Eagles was another choke job for the ages. I watched the Titans game opening week, only because I had a wager on the Titans. And the Titans held their own for most of that game, and then Denver didn't cover, but they just pulled away when it mattered. And that was because Tennessee were not as good. Blind luck. Like, if any team I am in the playoffs, bring the Broncos into town.
All right. Moving on, the Seahawks dominated the Commanders on Sunday Night Football. Another dominant performance by Sam Darnold. Joey, you mentioned this earlier. Should he be in the MVP discussion?
Sure. I think he made a really big jump on that Monday night game. He went down to like 5th in the odds, if I'm correct. He's playing lights out. This Seattle team just seems like they have it on both sides of the ball. Their offense is humming. JSN is playing well. Now they add Shaheed just to bolster that offense up. They have a pretty stout defense under a defensive coach. He should be in the conversation. Like you said, he came on late in this career, and watching on Sunday night, like everybody was just loving it. Like, is he not going to miss the game? They're just humming. They have everything on offense. So yeah, I think he should be in the conversation. Will he get it over the line? That remains to be seen. He's got to go through the Rams first, so we'll see about that.
How many wins did he get last year off the Vikings? 14, 13, something like that?
I know he was in the conversation early.
He 100% should be in the conversation. Of those that are 25, he's 25 to 1, if I remember rightly.
Was he 25? Yeah, let me take a look.
I mean, of those that are 25 to 1 or less, can I see any dark horses? Probably not, but I can genuinely put lines through a lot of those in the top 10, 15 of the betting. Your boy, no. Your other boy, no. Jalen Hurts, no. Herbert, no. Jordan Love, no. Jonathan Taylor, no.
So what, it's Lamar and Sam?
Look, I mean, I saw a field book on the MVP, and the boys have done a great job trading it, so hopefully it stays that way, but he's definitely in the conversation. They're just not as good as they are at home as they are on the road.
Yeah.
But it's an interesting one because when you play the MVP market, it's not one of those you just have one ticket and you stick to it. You're always looking to be what's the headline news coming, because a lot of that influences the market the following week and how we price up. And we said it last week. Allen was valued last week on the basis that because I felt the Bills were going to beat the Chiefs.
Right.
So Allen will shorten the price, assuming you get it the right side. Lamar last week, 50 to 1, now 25 to 1. You're looking for opportunities where you're going to get that value ticket. And I do feel it's one of those markets that if you do play it, you end up having 6, 7, 8 runners in the field, but you're always trying to beat the jump of the price. This week, if you like Tampa or you like New England in that matchup, you're better off backing the quarterback in the hope that quarterback has a great game, because then that 25 to 1 becomes 12 to 1.
Right.
And then you sat with tickets on big prices.
Yeah, that's building a portfolio.
That's exactly the word I was looking for.
All right, let's get into some game previews. Starting off with that game, Patriots versus Bucks. The first real test in quite some time, to both of your points, for New England. The Bucks are coming off a much-needed bye. But the Pats are a perfect 4-0 against the spread on the road, and the Bucks don't look too good at home against the spread. So what are your guys' thoughts here?
This is the battle of Cindy's favorite quarterbacks.
Cindy's Super Bowl.
It sure
Cindy's
is.
Super Bowl.
I will be
Drake
tuning
May,
in.
Baker Mayfield. We just need Joe Burrow to show up and be a coach on the sidelines. This is going to be a good game. I'm intrigued by this game. One thing both these defenses do well is stopping the run. So this is going to force, kind of go to Craig's point, who's going to be the better quarterback in this one, who's going to make the least mistakes. I do lean Patriots here, and hopefully that puts the mush on the Patriots. And then they don't show up. But I think this is an intriguing game of kind of these two teams that are like pseudo contenders. I don't think they'll they're going to get it done, but this is going to be one of those big games where it's who has the opportunity to make a splash in the playoffs or maybe pull an upset off.
Craig, it looks like you're leaning Bucks with that side eye you gave Joey when he said
100% I'm leaning the Bucks.
All right, break it down.
I make the Bucks 4-point favorites. What a schedule for the Pats.
Oh God, here we go again.
Played the Saints, the Titans, the Browns, the Falcons should have beat them. They get the Bucks, tough game. Then they get the Jets, Bengals, and Giants. I mean, come on. And the problem is when you're playing that weaker schedule, you become overvalued in the eyes of people. I'm too old to fall for that. Give me the Bucks.
All right. Okay.
And I am not a fan of
last week
either
was the
quarterback.
same thing with the Colts. Colts like hadn't beat anybody.
Yeah.
My dog of the
Valued.
week.
someone.
Steelers showed up.
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. Well, I'm staying far away from this game, but I will be watching.
I
All
figured you
right.
would.
Moving on to Joey's probably game of the week, Rams versus 49ers. The Rams were upset by the 49ers at home in week 5. Should we expect something different this time around? The line is currently Rams -4.5, and total is 49.5.
Look, the Rams are not. They have a very quick memory of that previous matchup, and it's hard to beat a team twice because
Right.
if you go into you've already played a team and I lost the game, I know what I did wrong. The other side of the team, well, what do I have to do to anticipate what they did wrong? It's much harder on that other team. Is it one of the best coaches in the league? Obviously, with Shanahan, we'll go back to that discussion. But the Rams really looked like they're impressing me this year more than even that's the year they won the Super Bowl. Just by how balanced they are, both on the offense and defense side of the ball. So it was a weird one, that Thursday night game. And I remember I was watching in the bedroom and the wife came in and I'm cheering on the Niners and she's like, "What is wrong with you?" But it's usually whatever the house needs is who
Was
I'm
that the
rooting for.
overtime?
Yes.
Was that the overtime?
Yes.
That's when the
Okay, that was
Rams
a
went
good
for a fourth
game.
down.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a great game. And that one had steamed up to, it was right when San Francisco started
The
having
magic
an injury.
8.5.
Yeah, the magic 8.5. Right when it gets up to it. So I expect these teams know each other very well. I'll expect a very kind of back and forth game, similar to how we saw it before. But I lean slightly Rams just because it's the second time and they know what mistakes they made, whereas the Niners kind of have to replicate.
And I do believe they announced that Puka should be ready to go
Yeah,
for that
Puka at this
game.
point.
So big.
Do you know who else has an 8.5-point dog this weekend? Minnesota, and they beat Detroit straight up. It's the dreaded number. A revenge game for the Rams. They absolutely dominate the 49ers on that Thursday night game. They were easily the better team. They turned the ball over at the goal line twice, if I remember rightly, as they're going in to score. They, rather than tie the game up in overtime, they went for the win. Right thing to do. It just wasn't their night. If they were a 9-point favorite, might have been different. 10-point favorite, different 7. But the 8.5, history was against you. This is huge for the 49ers because a win would give them 4 of their 6 divisional games, and they'll be 4-0 in the division, which pretty much is the tiebreaker nailed. In a division where Cardinals play the Seahawks this weekend as well, if I remember rightly. So there's going to be a lot of fluctuation on this. So if you are going to bet, if you've got an interest in the division, now's the time to do it because there's going to be some shape.
There'll be some separation, yeah.
I just think the Rams are just too good. Payback is coming on that stunning result. And
Thought you were going to say something else there.
billion.
Rams by $1 billion.
Rams by $1 billion. I don't hate
Oh,
it.
God. All right, let's move on to Sunday Night Football. We have Steelers versus Chargers. Obviously, we mentioned that big win over Indy for the Steelers. Mike Tomlin's team as underdogs, though, there's a trend there. So line currently Chargers -3, total 45.5. What do you guys like here? What team?
I can't get a hold of either of these teams.
Yeah, they're confusing ones.
They're very confusing ones. Like one week the Steelers are good, the other week they're bad. Same with the Chargers. They just haven't got. So if I'm going to go with anything, I'm going to go with the coach. I think Jim Harbaugh, especially, he's just going to be prepared week in and week out. And the Chargers are kind of like teetering. They started out hot and they're bad. So I think they get back. They do lose the lineman, which is a big deal. Joel, I think, is done for the year. And that's going to make a difference. But I think that Chargers, I'm going to lean that side, but I don't love it.
I love both these coaches. I've always been a fan of Tomlin's, and I'm always if your name is Harbaugh, I love you. I make this Chargers 4. I'm exactly the same on the total. This is the meat of the schedule, really, for the Steelers. This is the Chargers, the Bengals, the Bills, and the Ravens the next 5 games.
Wow.
A crucial run because you know who's right behind you, the future MVP of the league. The pressure's on the Steelers. The one thing I concerns me about betting the Chargers minus the points here is Steelers fans travel and travel well.
With their freaking towels.
With those stupid things. Yes. A couple of Steelers fans that work here went to the Raiders game, and there was more Steelers fans than Raiders fans.
Well, that's not surprising.
Right? And it will feel like a home game in LA because it's no real home field advantage for the Chargers.
Yeah.
What would be interesting is we should have a prop. Does Herbert use the Tua line? He goes, all these false starts were because the road fans were making too much noise.
No. Herbert's better than that. Let's be real.
I have no opinion on the game.
All right. Well, moving on, the NFL saved one of the best games of Week 10 for last. We have Eagles versus Packers. Will the Packers bounce back after an embarrassing loss to the Panthers, or will Philly off a bye hand them back-to-back losses? I think you both said you like Packers.
It's probably the Packers, which just makes me sick. And on paper, it looks like the Eagles should take care of it. They're coming off the bye, right? They're going to be well rested. They add some players on defense, which is just going to help them.
They traded for a Dolphins defensive player. That doesn't count.
Well, yeah, it was like going to a flea market and picking out the very nice thing. But it's gonna improve them. And I think, look, the Eagles they're reigning Super Bowl champions. They still have a very solid team, even though they've had question marks going forward. But this is absolutely screams Packers figure it out after being embarrassed by the Panthers. And maybe they're looking ahead at this game. Maybe they were overlooking the Panthers, and maybe that's why they played poorly. So yeah, I'm gonna lean the Packers here, even though it makes me sick. But I do think it's gonna go under because I think both of these defenses are going to be stout the whole game and probably a little conservative on the coaching, like we've seen with the Packers and the Eagles thus far.
Did Packers open a favorite?
Yeah.
I make the points way higher on this. The Pack have shown they feel like they can turn it on in the fourth quarter against the lesser opposition. They let them hang around, they get beat. They do not do that against marquee opposition. They obviously prepared for it. They raised their game. The Pack and the over all day and twice on Monday night.
Ooh.
All right. Okay.
Over.
Let's get into our week NFL picks. What is your favorite NFL game to go over?
Lions Commanders over 49.5.
That's because the Lions are going to score all of them.
Yeah, probably.
2. I've got 2 actually.
Okay.
Raiders Broncos over 43 tonight.
God, I hope so.
We
I
hope
do
not
not
as a
want to
company.
watch
We hope
that
not as
game.
company, yeah.
We do not want to, but unfortunately our nemesis has the game.
Oh.
And he also had Seattle Washington this weekend, which went over by pretty much halftime. And I kind of like the Browns and the Jets over 38, only because who's going to stop the Browns scoring? The Jets have got no players.
The Browns will probably stop the Browns from scoring.
There you go. There you
It's a
go.
great point, Joey. All right. Favorite NFL game to go under?
I like Packers Eagles under 44.5. Just think this is like conservative play calling as well as 2 good defenses. So maybe the under there.
Giants Bears under 47.
All right. Favorite NFL team to cover the spread?
I'm going to go ahead and jinx them. I think the Patriots plus 2.5.
Ooh,
Detroit Lions by $2 billion.
$2 billion.
They had this game marked on their calendar the minute this schedule was released.
That's right. Because you're
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
That's it.
The Commanders humiliated them in the playoffs last year, and not humiliated. I mean double humiliated them.
Big
And
time.
you called it.
I did.
And you're calling this. All right.
Well, this is a favorite. This doesn't take much skill.
All right. Upset of the week.
I think the Falcons are going to upset the Colts. Falcons are another team that kind of up and down. You don't know what you're going to get. So I'm going to get that we're going to have the good Falcons this week, and they'll take the Colts down.
Okay. This is going to sound really stupid and really contradictory, which is what I'm good at. The math says the Commanders, but I'm throwing the math out the window because there's no way Detroit lose this game. Off a loss, Detroit are the second best in the league the last 5 years. Against the spread, they're brilliant. So I am going to go the Las Vegas Raiders plus 385.
Ooh.
Wow. Okay, I actually like that.
I
To your
liked
point,
the fact that they went for 2 in overtime.
I liked that call. I liked that call too.
Even if it doesn't go your way, I think you buy the
It's the
locker
right
room.
call.
It's
for
the right
sure.
call, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Maybe not the right team. All right. Any weather we should be aware of in the NFL universe?
This made me so happy because a friend of ours is going to the Jets and Browns game this weekend.
Fun.
Exactly. You're like, get a life. It is going to be wet and windy the entire Browns and Jets game, so he's going to be triple miserable.
Yeah.
And there's also 20-mile-an-hour winds in the Giants and the Bears game.
All right. Moving on, let's get to our Talking with the Traders quick pick, anytime touchdown parlay, 1 pick per person. 2 of our legs cashed last week. Craig, I liked where you were going with the Jordan Love. He had every opportunity, just couldn't get it done.
Yep.
But that's why we have this week.
And that would have been a 50-1 winner for us.
Absolutely insane. All right, Joey, who do you got?
I'm going to take J.J. McCarthy plus 425 to get in the end zone. He's still kind of figuring out how to pass the ball, so
It's a quarterback.
yeah, he's gonna, yeah. I'm the quarterbacks are going well for me now, so I'm gonna stick with the quarterbacks. J.J. McCarthy plus 425. He's just gonna scramble and find his way in.
Yeah, speaking of quarterbacks, I don't often take quarterbacks for our anytime touchdown parlay, but that's changing this week. I'm taking Josh Allen. He has found the end zone in the past 2 weeks, and I think this week is no different. Craig?
Playing the Dolphins.
Yes.
He probably scored 6 of them.
Yeah. If
I'm going to go Jacoby Myers for the Jags. Finally
I
has a
like.
quarterback who can actually throw the ball to him. Trevor Lawrence needs a wide receiver because they traded up for one, and look how that worked out. Yeah, plus 270, I think is great value.
There you go.
Yeah, I'm happy for him.
He's happy as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, let's get into our game picks of the week. 1 college, 1 NFL. Who wants to start us off?
You're 3 clear. You should go first.
Okay, I'm happy to go first. I'm gonna take A&M Mizzou under that 47.5, and I am going to go with both of you, which is not a great look for me, but I'm taking the Rams by $1 billion. Absolutely, 100%.
Okay.
Not the first time somebody says I'm going with both of you this week.
I'm gonna take Navy Notre Dame over 56.5. I'm still buying in the Notre Dame offense is efficient and could score that by themselves.
Mm-hmm.
On the NFL side of the ball, I'm hoping that I mush this team, so I'm taking the Patriots plus 2.5.
He's such a
I love it.
Yeah.
such a. I don't even have the word.
See, now our picks again tactical just for the company.
Yeah.
Okay, no surprise. Here we go. Weather related. BYU Texas Tech under 52.5, which even has the bigger one now because it's Joey's over of the week. So this is nailed on. And my other under Giants Bears under 47.
All right. Well, that's a wrap for this week's episode. If you don't already, please subscribe to Talking with Our Traders wherever you listen to your podcasts. Follow at Caesar Sports on Instagram, Facebook, X, YouTube. Guys, any final words before we head into the weekend?
It's the funnest month of the year, November. College basketball started, so bet responsibly, but have a good time because it's the next 4 weeks of fun.
Amen to that.
4 weeks of fun. All right. Bye.